Hello, I'm Mike, this is Will, we are the Tabletop Donkeys.
Hello.
Bringing you issue 40 of Warhammer 40k Conquest today. And before we head into the issue, as always, if you want to skip straight to the battle report, there will be a time code in the description. There'll also be another time code for an overview of the entire collection thus far. We'll do a brief overview of that as well. And in this issue, you've got 3 new layer paints. You've got Stormhost Silver, Liberator Gold, and Wild Rider Red. But heading into the issue, first, we've got some background here on Marnius Calgar, the Chapter Master of the Ultramarines. You can see here, before he was made into a Primaris Marine and undertook the process to become a Primaris Marine, the first Chapter Master to do so, I believe. And we've got some background here on Demon Princes of Chaos. So it focuses mainly on Nurgle ones, but then you also get some examples here of the Demon Princes for the other Chaos Gods. And the painting guide for highlighting. So this is a useful technique to learn. Really does bring out a lot of detail in the models, and it uses the Primaris Captain from the last issue as an example, but these techniques can be applied to all the Space Marine models. They're relatively easy to do. It does take quite a bit of time, but it is worth it. It really does enhance the models. You can see there the finished model with the red and the gold and the silver applied. So we'll head into an overview of the entire collection thus far. So here we have the overall collection for Warhammer 40k Conquest up to issue 40, so before we move on to the next battle mat. And we'll start off with the Space Marine forces down here. So thus far we have a Primaris Captain, not in Gravis armour, then we have the Captain in Gravis armour from Dark Imperium. We have a Lieutenant Calcius, who is currently unique to this magazine. Then we have a Primaris Librarian, a Primaris Apothecary, and a Primaris Chaplain. And behind them, moving on, we have 2 squads of the easy-to-build Primaris Reavers, so it's 2 squads of 3. Then we have 2 squads of 3 Intercessors. This one in front is the set of easy-to-build Intercessors, and then the 3 behind are from Dark Imperium, the big box set, starter set. And behind them we have 3 Hellblasters, who are also from Dark Imperium. Just to the right of them we have 3 easy-to-build Primaris Aggressors, with the Flamestorm Gauntlets. Behind them we have 2 Inceptors, who are from Dark Imperium, and just to their right we have the easy-to-build Redemptor Dreadnought. And over here with the Death Guard we start with Lord Felthius, the Lord of Contagion from the easy-to-build set, Lord Felthius and the Tainted Cohort. We have a Malignant Plague Caster, a Foul Blightspawn, a Plague Surgeon, a Noxious Blightbringer, and a Biologous Putrefier. And then we have 2 sets of 3 easy-to-build Plague Marines. Also the Plague Champion with a Power Sword and the Bell Sword and the Power Fist from Dark Imperium. And then we have the Tainted Cohort, so the 3 easy-to-build Blightlord Terminators that come with Lord Felthius. Then there's 2 sets of easy-to-build Poxwalkers, so 2 sets of 6 each. Behind them is the Myphitic Blighthauler, which is also an easy-to-build kit. And then a Chaos Rhino. And going through all the terrain, you can see here along the sides there's all of the cargo deck terrain, so that's essentially a full set of the Munitorum armoured containers. If you buy a box, this is what you get. So you get 3 of the big containers with storm bolters on the front, and was that 9 barrels and 12 crates of various sizes. And on the other side here we've got a set of the Thermit Plasma Conduits. So again, that's a full box set of them. And in the background there you can see the Riser Pattern Ruins, so that includes the hatches and these fallen doors and things. Again, that's a full box set of them. And then in the middle, finishing off, is the set of battlefield accessories. So it's tank traps and some ammo boxes and some more ammo drums, more ore drums. And then that's it for the issue. We'll head into the mission now.
Before we get to the mission, we have more Warlord Traits. Now these are actually 6 unique Warlord Traits for both factions. So we've got the Space Marine ones here, and the Death Guard ones will be over the page. So I'll just do a quick look at the Space Marine ones. These are the same as the ones from the Space Marine Codex, if you're familiar with those. Well, the old version of the Space Marine Codex, because the new one has just come out at the time of recording. We'll talk about that later. So Angel of Death, subtract 1 from the leadership of enemy units within 6 inches of the Warlord. Imperium Sword, reroll failed charge rolls and add 1 to its attack characteristic if he charged, so that's actually better than the generic one that just is the +1 attack. Iron Resolve, add 1 to the wounds characteristic of your Warlord, and then he gets a 6+ ignoring wounds, disgustingly resilient type thing, again, better than the generic one. In Storm of Fire, each time you roll a wound roll for 6 for a friendly unit within 6 inches of the Warlord in the shooting phase, that's AP -1, 1 AP better than it was. Rites of War, friendly, well, Ultramarines units it says here, but Silver Templars units with it automatically pass morale tests if they're within 6 inches, and finally Champion of Humanity. You add +1 to hit and wound rolls for the Warlord when targeting enemy characters in the fight phase. Then we've got the Death Guard Warlord traits. We've got Revoltingly Resilient, which is +1 to Disgustingly Resilient rolls unless it's against a mortal wound, so unless it's against mortal wounds it's a 4+ Disgustingly Resilient, effectively. Living Plague, which is basically Lord Felthius' ability, but it happens at the start of the fight phase, and it's for any units that are within 3 inches at the start of the fight phase. They suffer a mortal wound. Tainted Regeneration, regains a wound at the start of each player's turn. Hulking Physique, +1 Toughness. Rotten Constitution is reducing damage to a minimum of 1, so it takes 3 damage from a weapon, it reduces to 2, but 1 damage weapons are still 1 damage. And then Arch Contaminator basically makes plague weapons reroll all failed wounds, rather than just ones if they're within 7 inches of the Warlord. And here we are onto our mission now. We've got the background for it here. The Death Guard are holding the Governor's Palace in the city of Barachias. In fact, I think they captured it some time ago in the earliest assaults on the city. The Silver Templars have finally decided to launch an attack on it, now that they've consolidated various other places. There's a map here. You can actually play this mission up to 7 times. And, it's not mandatory, and we're not going to do it, because this is going to be a long enough battle as it is. The main feature is here, the Palace Gate and Palace Ramparts, which are in the Death Guard deployment zone, which is 6 inches. And the Space Marines have to destroy the gate, which is that blue rectangle that's marked there. The gate itself has toughness 8, 12 wounds and a 4+ save. And obviously, yeah, it says the gate can be attacked as if it were a model in the Death Guard force, and but it can't fight back or anything. Its profile is just this. And they actually give you a piece of printed terrain to represent this. So this bit here is the ramparts, and there's the gate there, and then this just goes over the top of the map as it is. But we're not going to use that, and I'll show you why in a minute. And then otherwise for the ramparts it says here you can't move or draw line of sight through the area, so it's effectively just a big piece of impassable terrain. You'll also note that as well as the deployment zones we have these little arrows here which mark reinforcement points, and as you'll see in the forces over the page there's the armies for the 2 sides. The top units start on the board, and then the ones in the lower list can be brought on as reinforcements. So at the end of each player's movement phase one of these units can move on from the appropriate reinforcement point. Deployment zones is shown over leaf, as it says. We roll off to see who deploys the first unit, then we alternate units, and whoever deploys the last unit goes first. And the victory conditions are not the same for both sides. The Death Guard gain points for killing Space Marine units, and both sides gain 1 point for Slay the Warlord, but then the Space Marines only gain other victory points for 6 if they destroy the Palace Gate, and 3 if they have a unit within 1 inch of the gate at the end of the game. And then this page here just explains how to use the piece of printed terrain. It also says you can use the other printed terrain we've had from previously, or like the crashed shuttle. We're not going to do that because the board's pretty crowded as it is. And here is what we're using for the Palace Gate. It is a Shrine of the Aquila terrain piece that's been turned into a gate. And it's been placed on the board as far in as the Palace Gate would be, and the gate is roughly the same size as the gate on the printed terrain. It extends a bit further to the left and the right, but it's just a big impassable thing anyway. It's probably not going to come up. If it does, we might have to rule that certain bits aren't in the way because they're not technically there. So we're going to use that, and then it does sit over the top of this. On the piece of printed terrain, this little bit of wall here isn't there, so that's missing. But otherwise, all the terrain is the same. And it's worth showing our campaign map again at this time. Although there's one space here, it's supposed to be empty, I drew on it by accident. We're not going to fight a battle in that space, even though so the palace is here, this is in Death Guard territory, but the battle for the city is over apparently, according to the thing, and also this mission is complicated enough without having any extra special rules. But you can see the Silver Templars did win the city effectively, 7 victories to 3, at least in our universe. So there's the battlefield from above, and we're going to go into the army overviews now, and then get on to deployment. So we have our complete Space Marine force. It's separated into 2 parts. The ones on the right are the ones who come in as reinforcements. The ones on the left start on the board. So on board, we have the Gravis Captain, Lieutenant Calcius, 5 Intercessors, 3 Hellblasters, and 3 Aggressors. And then available as reinforcements are the Librarian, the Chaplain, the Apothecary, and the Redemptor Dreadnought. And then who are you going to pick for your Warlord?
It's going to be the Captain in Gravis Armour.
Yep.
And I'm going to pick Champion of Humanity as my Warlord trait. It gives him +1 to hit and wound rolls in the fight phase against enemy characters.
And here we have our Death Guard. It's the same deal here. The guys on the right are available as reinforcements. So starting on the board, we have Lord Felthius, the Noxious Blightbringer, the Tainted Cohort, 5 Plague Marines and 12 Poxwalkers. And my reinforcements available are the Blight Hauler, the Plague Surgeon, the Foul Blightspawn, and the Malignant Plague Caster. And my Warlord, well, it'll be Lord Felthius, who's the obvious choice. And he'll have the Warlord trait Revoltingly Resilient, which gives him 4+ Disgustingly Resilient, except against mortal wounds, which is still 5+. Now we're going to roll off, and the winner decides who gets to place a unit first or second, bearing in mind that the person who places the final unit gets to go first. I will roll a 2.
I will roll a 1.
I will make you place a unit first, which means I get to go first.
So for my first deployment, I'm going to deploy the Intercessor Squad in this area terrain.
Well, my first pick will be Lord Felthius going in the Teleportarium, and my second pick will be the Tainted Cohort going in the Teleportarium, so Space Marines may as well deploy 2 units now.
I'm going to deploy the Hellblaster Squad down here in this area terrain, and the Aggressor Squad in the middle here behind that pipe, and they will all be close enough to get cover from it.
And my third choice will be these Plague Marines. They're all over there in the area cover.
My fourth pick, Lieutenant Calcius, is going to go here just behind the aggressors, so that he and all 3 squads are in range for his reroll 1 to wound aura.
Now I've placed all the Poxwalkers over here.
And my last deployment, the Captain in Gravis Armour is going to go just there alongside Lieutenant Calcius.
And then finally we've got the Noxus Blightbringer here just next to the Poxwalkers. Because the Death Guard placed the last unit, that means they get to go first, so we'll be on to Death Guard turn 1. In my movement phase, the Plague Marines have moved up to there, they're within 2 inches of the ammo crate. And then over here, the Poxwalkers are going to advance, and they get to roll 2 dice thanks to the Noxus Blightbringer. And they've rolled a 6, so they'll get to go 10 inches. That brings them up to here. And then the Noxus Blightbringer himself will advance, he also gets to roll 2 dice. Oh, he's rolled a double 1, so he only gets to go 6. He gets himself to there with that. Now we're at the end of the movement phase, and I've got 2 things that can happen here. These guys can arrive from the Teleportarium, and I can bring in a reserve unit through the gate. When multiple things happen at the end of the movement phase, the player whose turn it is gets to choose what order they happen in. What I'm going to do is decide to bring in people from the Teleportarium first. So the Tainted Cohort and Lord Felthius have arrived in the middle of the road, and then the gate opens and out comes a Myphitic Blight Hauler, and it gets to move on, it says, so it will move it 10 inches, and that will get it to about there, so it's within 2 inches of the ammo crate. Now it's on to my shooting phase. We will start with the Blight Hauler. He's going to fire at the aggressors over here. So starting with the Multi-Melter, hitting on 4, re-rolling 1s. It missed.
Phew.
And the Crack Missile also hitting on 4. That did hit. It wounds on a 3 because they toughness 5. It did wound.
4+ armor save, thanks to cover, but if I roll a 6, I might take a more wound. I didn't make my armor save.
D6 damage, 5.
So an aggressor goes down.
Next we will do these Plague Marines. The Blight Launchers and the Plasma Gun will shoot at the aggressors. The Bolt Gunners can't see any aggressors, so they'll shoot at the Intercessors instead. None of the rapid fire weapons are within rapid fire range. So we'll start with the Plasma Gun. It will supercharge, but only 1 shot, hitting on a 3, re-rolling 1s. Re-rolling 1s. Yep, phew, that did hit. Wounds on a 3. It did.
5+ armor save. Didn't make it, so aggressor goes down.
Then we've got 2 Blight Launchers. We've got 3 hits, so 2 hits, 3 rolling 1s. Still only 2 hits. Wounding on 3s, 3 rolling 1s, 2 wounds.
2 4+ cover saves, armor saves, made 1.
So Sarge takes D3 damage, he takes 3.
Sarge goes down. That will be a victory point for the Death Guard for destroying a unit.
Yes, it will. So there's 1 victory point, there's no first blood in this scenario though. And then we've shot 2 shots with bolt guns on the Intercessors. They've both hit. And they wound on 4s. They do. And you've got 2+ armour.
2+ armor saves, made both.
Finally, to shoot, we have the Tainted Cohort, and we've just got the combi bolters on them. They'll shoot at the Hellblasters, I think. They are within rapid fire range, so we've got 8 shots hitting on 3s, 3 rolling 1s. Try and get more in the box. That's 5 hits so far, 2 1s. Turns into 6 hits. Wounding on 4s, only 2.
2+ armor save, made both.
And that'll be it for my shooting phase, because the only other guy with the gun advanced, and he's miles out of range anyway, and there won't be any charges because I'm far too far away. So we'll be on to Space Marines turn 1.
So in my movement, the Hellblasters have moved over this room to take cover behind the pipe where the aggressors were. The Intercessors have moved forward, and then the 2 characters have moved so that both squads are still within their bubbles and they're not in the front. And at the end of the movement phase, the Librarian will move on. He's within smite range of the Terminators, and his psychic powers will be Might of Heroes and Veil of Time. So the Librarian will attempt to manifest Smite.
Okay.
Needs a 5. Gets it with a 6, so it will hit the Terminators. D3 mortal wounds, 1.
Ignoring it on 5. Nope.
So Terminator takes a wound.
Yeah, we'll put it on the Swordman.
He'll try to manifest Might of Heroes on the Captain. So he needs a 6. Gets it with a 7. And then psychic phase over on to the shooting phase. We'll start with the Hellblasters. They're going to rapid fire overcharge at the Terminators. Start with the Sergeant at the end. Hitting on 3s, re-rolling 1s. So re-rolling that 1. That's 2 hits. Regular Hellblaster number 1. Re-rolling that 1. Gets a hit. And the last Hellblaster gets 2 hits. That's 5 hits. Wounding on 3s, re-rolling 1s because we're near Calcius. 4 wounds.
Not bad. 4 plus invulnerable saves. I made 2. Perfectly average. And so then they're 2 damage each. So the first one on the guy with 1 wound left. Oh, wow. He ignores it. Okay, and the second one on the guy with 1 wound left. Yeah, he does die now. Takes a wound.
So the intercessors are going to rapid fire at the Plague Marines. We've got 10 shots hitting on 3s, re-rolling 1s because of the captain. So that's 8 hits. Wounding on 5s, re-rolling 1s because of Calcius. So that's 5 wounds.
Oh, not bad. They're in cover, so that negates your -1 AP. So 3s, failed 2, disgustingly resilient, which I failed both of. So we're going to lose some bolt guns.
And that'll be it for my turn. So, because I'm not going to declare any charges.
Yep, so that'll be onto Death Guard, turn 2. Now, the first thing I'm going to do in my movement phase is to move these Poxwalkers, and they will advance, thanks to the Blightbringer. They get 2 dice again, roll 4 this time. That brings them up closer to the Space Marine lines, and then the Blightbringer will also advance again. He's rolled a 4 as well. 9 inches gets him to there, just about keeping up. And the rest of my movement, the Potato Cohort have moved up, Lord Felthius just a little bit behind them. Blighthauler has moved forward a little bit to keep them within its cover range, and the Plague Marines also moved out, but they are within cover range. At the end of my movement phase, a Malignant Plaguecaster is going to come through the gate, and he's going to advance, but I'll just do his psychic powers quickly. He's going to take Miasma of Pestilence and Blades of Putrefaction. So rolling for his advance. 6. That brings him on all the way up to there, next to the Blighthauler. So now with him on the board, we'll be on to my psychic phase. And we're going to start with Smite. It's going to hit those intercessors. They're within 18, but they're the closest unit. So needing a 5. Getting a 10, not quite the big one.
Well, I'm not going to try and deny because it's going to be really hard. So.
Yeah, that's probably a good result for you, actually. 10, because it means you don't have to make the decision. So D3 mortal wounds. 3.
So 1 intercessor goes down and another takes a wound?
Yeah, because mortal wounds spill over. Yeah. And then he will try and cast Miasma of Pestilence on these Terminators over here. So this needs a 6. Didn't get it with a 4, so that doesn't go off. Then it'll be on to the shooting phase. Blighthauler is going to shoot at the Hellblasters. It's multi-mill to hit on a 6. I mean 4. I say 6 because it always rolls a 6, but it did hit, didn't it? Wounds on 2. Yep. You've got cover. So
6 plus cover save. Nope.
No. D6 damage. 3.
And regular Hellblaster goes down.
Then it's Crack Missile, hits on a 4. Nope. The Bastard isn't in range. Next we will do the Plague Marines at the same target, Hellblasters. The champion is now within 18. He will supercharge his gun. No, I don't think he will actually. He's not going to supercharge because I'm hopefully I can take out 2 guys. So just normal shots. That's a 1, re-rolling for the ammo box. Still a 1. Good thing I didn't overcharge. Wounding on a 3. No, I didn't. Then we've got 2 Blight Launchers on 3s, re-rolling 1s. That's 3 hits. Wounding on 3s, we're also re-rolling 1s. And 2 2s, so only 1 wound.
5 plus armor save. Made it.
Okay, oh well. And then we've just got the Terminators left to shoot. They will shoot, yeah, they'll shoot the Hellblasters as well. The Plague Spear is in range, just within 9. So we'll do that first. D6 automatic hits, just 2. Wounding on 3s, re-rolling 1s. 2 wounds, but you're in cover, so...
4 plus armor save.
No, 3 plus.
3 plus, sorry. Yep.
Yep, and they both. And then we've got 1 combi bolter left. Hitting on 3s, not re-rolling 1s anymore. Another anyway, 3 hits. Wounding on 4s. No, none. That's going to be the end of my shooting phase. I do have people within charge range, but I'm not going to declare a charge because it'll pull my line apart. Don't really want that at this point. So that means we'll be on to Space Marines turn 2.
So in my movement, the Hellblasters have shuffled along a bit. The 3 characters have come to the centre. Calcius is on this side of the captain now for a reason you'll find soon enough. And the 4 intercessors have moved up past the pipe. You might have to do some dangerous long charges. And then at the end of the movement phase, the Dreadnought will come on over there. And he is within 6 inches of the 2 officers.
Yes.
With that over, it's on to the psychic phase. The Librarian will attempt to manifest Smite.
The Terminators?
Yep. Needs a 5. Does not get it with a 4.
Nope.
And then he'll try to manifest Might of Heroes on the captain. Gets it with an 11.
Well, since you don't have any more power, I might as well try and stop that. I need a double 6. Ooh, 9, but no.
+1 strength, toughness, and attacks. So it's on to the shooting phase.
Okay.
So we'll start with the Hellblasters. They're going to rapid fire and overcharge at the Terminators again.
Yep.
So starting with the Sergeant, hitting on 2 shots, hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s because of the Captain. That's 1 hit. And the other one, re-rolling that 1. So that's another hit, so 2 hits. Wounding on 3s, rerolling 1s because of Cassius. That's 2 wounds.
4 plus invulnerable saves, made 1. Average again, 2 damage for overcharging. Oh, okay.
And the Terminator goes down.
I'm going to take away the guy with the bubotic axe. He is the better one in melee, but the other guy's in a good position to get in the way of your charges, so we're going to lose him.
So next we'll do the Librarian. He'll throw a crack grenade at the remaining Terminator.
Uh-huh.
So 1 shot, hitting on a 3, rerolling 1s. He hit. Wounded on a 3, rerolling 1s. He wounded.
I am within cover range from the light hauler, so it'll be a 2+.
Yep.
Yeah, made it.
Intercessor Squad will rapid fire at the, 3 of them will fire their bolt rifles, and 1 of them will throw a crack grenade at the Plague Marines.
Mm-hmm.
So crack grenade, hitting on a 3, rolling 1s, it missed. 6 bolt rifle shots, hitting on 3s, rolling 1s. 5 hits, wounding on 5s, rolling 1s. 2 wounds.
Again, within cover radius light hauler, so I've made both my saves.
Next up, Lieutenant Cassius will throw a crack grenade at the Terminator. 1 shot hitting on a 3, rolling 1s, it hit. Wounding on a 3, rolling 1s. It wounded.
2+ again, because I'm in cover. Yeah.
And then the Captain will fire his Bolt Storm Gauntlet Pistol at the Poxwalkers. 3 shots hitting on 2s, rolling 1s. It'll hit. Wounding on 3s, rolling 1s. 1 wound.
Disgustingly resilient. Nope.
The
We'll lose
Poxwalker.
this one from the back.
The Dreadnought, it will fire it. I'll start with the Heavy Flamer. It's going to put everything into the Poxwalkers.
Okay.
So we start with the Heavy Flamer, D6 automatic hits. 6, wounding on 3s, rerolling 1s. 5 wounds.
Disgustingly resilient. Failed 4, so that's 4 more dead.
And we have 2d6 frag assault launchers, whatever they're called, the grenade launchers. 5 shots, hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s. Rerolling the 1. They all hit. Wounding on 3s, rerolling 1s. 2 wounds.
More resilient, made 1, so that's 5 down so far.
And then the heavy onslaught Gatling cannon has 12 shots, hitting on 4s, re-rolling 1s. 5 hits, wounding on 3s, re-rolling 1s. 4 wounds.
And more resilience. Oh, made 3, so only another one down, so that's 6 in total. So that's the Poxwalkers. After that, there's only 5 left.
We'll start with the Intercessors. They will declare a charge on the Plague Marines.
Light launchers, hitting on 6s. 2 hits. Wounding on 3s, re-rolling 1s, that's a 1. 2 wounds.
5 plus armour saves. Made 1.
So the wounded guy goes
Man
down.
goes down.
And the plasma gun, not supercharging. Well, that got a hit as well. Wounds on the 3. No.
And then charge distance. 8. So there, they've completed their charge. As you can see, this Intercessor is now closest to him. The Dreadnought will declare a charge on the Poxwalkers.
Yep, I have no Overwatch.
6 inches. Let's go like that. The Librarian will declare a charge on that Terminator.
So D6 automatic hits. 6.
Oh dear.
3s, re-rolling 1s. And some 2s. That's 4 wounds. And you get -1 armour.
4 plus armour save. Oh, made 3, so he only takes 1 wound. Down to 4. And then his charge distance is an 8. That's going to be enough. So he'll go around like that. Then the Captain will declare a charge on Lord Felthius and this Terminator.
Okay.
Charge distance is 9. And then Lieutenant Cassius will also declare a charge on Felthius, the Poxwalkers, and the Terminator.
Okay.
He got a 10. So he will actually go in to fight Felthius as well.
Right, well, I nobody is within range to heroically intervene, but now you get to pick who you want to fight with.
So I'll start with the Intercessors. So this man will just shift over to get within an inch of the Blight Hauler. So he'll have to come around like that, I think.
Yeah, so now they're all within an inch.
They are all within an inch of the Plague Marines. So they have 7 attacks, hitting on 3s, re-rolling 1s. Well, they don't need it. And then wounding on 5s, re-rolling 1s. 4 wounds.
Armour save. Failed 2. And then Disgustingly Resilient. Failed 1. So we'll take away this closest blight launcher here. Yeah, and then that man just consolidates around like that.
And then we might as well go down the board, go to the Librarian next.
Yep.
4 attacks, hitting on 3s, you're rolling 1s. You're rolling the 1. 3 hits. Wounding on 5s, you're rolling 1s. No wounds.
Nope.
And then we'll do the Captain. He has 6 attacks, because of my heroes, hitting on 2s, because he gets +1 against enemy characters, which negates the -1 for his
Boltstorm Gauntlet.
rolling 1s. Come on, don't get 2 misses. There we go. 6 hits. Wounding on 2s, because he's strength 5, doubled to 10.
Yep.
And re-rolling 1s. 6 wounds.
4+ invulnerable save. Made 3. Again, perfectly average for my invulnerable saves this game. 3d3 damage.
4.
Only 4, and I ignore these on 4 pluses because of my Warlord trait. I ignored 1, so 2 take 3 wounds.
So he's down to 3. And then we'll do Calcius. He has 4 attacks, hitting on 2s, re-rolling 1s. Ugh. 4 hits. Wounding on 5s, re-rolling 1s.
More 1s.
2 wounds.
Invulnerable again. Still perfectly average, so that's 1 damage, which can I ignore on a 4+? I do.
The Dreadnought. He has 4 attacks, hitting on 3s. Not re-rolling 1s because they're not too far away from the Captain, but that's 3 hits. Wounding on 2s.
Yeah, they all wound. D6 damage each.
First one, 1.
I ignored it.
Ugh. Second one, 1. Come on, Dreadnought.
I ignored it.
4.
Probably won't ignore this. No, didn't make a good attempt, but no. I'll take away this one, who's furthest away from the Dreadnought. But that's all your charges done, so now I get to start hitting back.
Yep.
We'll start over here with these Plague Marines. This one will just pile in around there. You don't have a wounded man, so we'll do the Power Fist first. On 4s. Ooh, 2 hits. Wounding on 2s. We did.
6+. Nope.
So D3 damage. 2. Oh, sorry, 3 and 1. So 1 guy goes down and 1 takes a wound.
I'll take this man down and put a wound on Sarge.
And then I've got the knife. We missed. Next, we'll do the Blight Hauler. Just see if we can kill Sarge. Could kill both of them technically, but not if I roll 1 hit. 4s. Wounding on 3, but re-rolling 1s. It did. -2 AP.
5+. Nope. Sarge goes down. But the most important man survives.
Yeah, because the Blight Hauler is still engaged. We'll do Lord Felthius next. He's going to attack the Gravis Captain, who's by far the most dangerous model that he's facing at the moment. He has 4 attacks hitting on 2s. That's a 1, so... Oh, but I get just Death of the False Emperor, so that does return to 4 hits. Strength 7, you're only toughness 6, even with Mighty Hero, so still 3s, re-rolling 1s, or that's 1s. Okay, they rolled 2s, but that was a wound. That's 2 wounds.
So, 2 4+ invulnerable saves. Can I be average as well? I can.
You take D3 damage. Only 1.
Gravis Captain is down to 5 wounds.
Then this Terminator, we might as well attack the Librarian. He's within an inch of all 3 of these characters, but... Yeah, attack the Librarian, 2 attacks, 1 hit, not re-rolling 1s for any reason. Wounding on 4. It's a 5, so yeah, 1 wound.
3+ armor save, made it.
Yeah. And then last of all, we got 3 Poxwalkers. This one here is closer to Calcius, so he cannot pile in towards the Dreadnought, so he's stuck. 2 attacks each, hitting on 5s. 1 hit, wounds on 6. No. So that'd be it for all my units fighting, but in the morale phase, this Intercessor does have to take a morale test.
Yes, because the Sergeant died and they took 3 casualties,
Yes.
so...
His leadership of 8 might mean he runs away if you roll a 6.
Twice.
Twice, because
they
you
can
can
re-roll.
Yeah.
No, he's fine.
Lots of casualties, and we're going to go on to Death Guard turn 3. So this is the result of my movement. I haven't forgotten Lord Felthius' aura. We're going to roll for that in a second. Just quickly going over the movement. The Plague Marines have moved over there. Terminator has run away from the Librarian. He's had to go this way because he wants to be at more than 3 inches away. Yeah, because otherwise in my charge phase you can just directly intervene straight back into him. So that's about the only place he can go. Lord Felthius is going to stay in melee. Might get him killed, but he's probably the best chance I have of dealing with this Captain. Blightbringer's moved over here. And the Poxwalkers are going to stay in melee and try and hold this Dreadnought up. Malignant Plaguecaster has moved over here, so he's closest to the Captain for Smite. But now we have to do Lord Felthius' aura. Oh yes, actually yes. Blight Hauler has run away. It's over here in this corner. Technically goes off at the start of the movement phase for every unit that was within 1 inch of one of my units that was within 7 inches of Lord Felthius.
So
which is everybody.
It's going to be everything except the Hellblast.
Yes, because the Blight Hauler was here. So, yeah, this Intercessor was within an inch of the Blight Hauler, the Librarian was within an inch of the Terminator, 2 characters obviously still in melee, and the Dreadnought, because this Poxwalker being here means that it was actually within 7 of Lord Felthius, so conveniently the Dreadnought. So yeah, on a 4+, all of those units might take a water wound. So we'll start with the Intercessor. He does not, that's a 1. The Librarian does take a mortal wound.
So down to 3.
Captain in Gravis Armour does not.
Good.
Lieutenant Calcius does not. And the Dreadnought, that does. So down to 12. And then at the end of my movement phase, look who's coming through the gate. It's the Foul Blightspawn. And he's going to advance, because he's got an assault weapon. D6 inches, 5. So he can go 10. He's going to come on over there. So he's closest to the Librarian if this Intercessor dies, which hopefully will happen. Well, the Malignant Plaguecaster is closest to the Captain, so he will try and smite. So we need a 5. Getting it with a 7, which will do a mortal wound to him as well, regardless, because I got a 7 on my psychic test.
I will attempt to deny that, because I'd rather the captain not take wounds.
Okay.
So I need to roll a 6, and I got a 5, so I can't deny.
No, because your psychic could, so you get +1, but it doesn't go off. So he takes D3 mortal wounds from the smite, so he just takes 1, so he takes 2 in total.
So he goes down to 4 from smite, and then when it resolves he takes another mortal wound, so he goes down to 3.
And then we're going to try and cast Blades of Putrefaction on Lord Felthius. On a 5 as well, apparently.
Does it actually...
Oh, that's a 3.
Oh.
Now we will be on to the shooting phase, and I need to get rid of this Intercessor so that the Foul Blightspawn can squirt the Librarian to death. So we will start with the bolt pistol from the Malignant Plaguecaster, because that's literally the only thing he can actually shoot at anyway. He's not within grenade range. So bolt pistol on a 3, it missed. Now we'll do the Plague Marines next. They hopefully will take him out. So we'll start with the Blight Launcher, because if I don't... Yeah. Get 2 hits, moving on 3s. Yeah, so the ammo boxes still from the cargo deck days, do actually give a cover save if you're within an inch of it. That rule never went away, so you do...
4+ armour saves?
No.
Failed bow saves.
So 2d3 damage and he dies.
And you gain a victory point for killing the Intercessors.
I do, so I'm up to 2 victory points. That leaves the Foul Blightspawn to shoot the Librarian just about within 9 inches. So his gun is strength 4. Well, winning on 4s, but...
It's the 3 damage that matters.
3 damage that matters. Number of hits, 4. Winning on 4s, rerolling 1s. 2 wounds. Oh, sorry, rerolling 1s. No, still 2 wounds.
Need double 6s to live. Oh, I made 1.
Made 1.
Librarian goes down.
3 damage.
Another victory point for the Death Guard.
Up to 3 victory points. Well, that is it for my shooting, because the Tainted Cohort member over here fell back. Plague Marines will declare a charge on both of these characters. So we'll just roll our dice. 10, yeah, they're in. So they'll come in there, getting this side of the Captain. In fact, block him off a little bit more. So they charge, so they get to hit the Captain first. You've got the Power Fist on 4s. 1 hit, wounding on a 3, because you're toughness 6 at the moment. It did.
4+ invulnerable save. Nope.
D3 damage. 2.
So he's down to 1.
Then knife, 1 attack. It hit. It wounded on a 5. It did.
3+. Yep.
Yeah. Then we'll do Lord Felthius. He'll put all his attacks on the Captain, because I need to get 1 through. Hitting on 2s. They all hit, wounding on 3s, rerolling 1s. Rerolling 1s, that's 4 wounds.
4+.
No.
Fail 2. Captain goes down, so you get 2 victory points, 1 for killing a unit and 1 for slay the Warlord.
So up to 5, but now it's your pick.
The Dreadnought, I guess, because Calcius is safe. So Dreadnought has 4 attacks hitting on 3s. He got 2 hits, wounding on 2s, 2 wounds.
D6 each.
1.
And I ignored it.
Yep, and 3.
No. Takes out this box walker.
Calcius.
And now, yeah, plus Calcius left.
4 attacks hitting on 2s, 3 hits. Wounding on 5s, you're on 1s. Nothing.
So that's the end of the fight phase, and the end of Death Guard turn 3, so we'll be on to Space Marines turn 3.
So yeah, I'm going to concede at this point, because even if I destroy the gate, I'd have to do so, I guess win, but it's completely undamaged, and I'd have to do it without taking any losses. And it's very unlikely that I'm going to get a unit within an inch of the gate at the end of the game, and yeah, I can't really do anything about the Foul Blightspawn, or the Blight Hauler, or the Psyker, and I only have a Chaplain and an Apothecary left, and the Apothecary is not really not a combat unit at all.
No.
And the Chaplain might be able to do something, but it's probably a bit late in the game at this point.
Okay, well, so for the final battle for the palace, the Death Guard have managed to hold the gate. So it will be a Death Guard victory, and we're going to give you our thoughts on that right away. Well, that was the big final battle for the palace from issue 40 of Warhammer 40k Conquest. I don't know, where should we start with this? What do you think?
Well, I will say, I think after the first turn, I thought I was going to lose. I do think if the captain... Well, it was pretty unlikely that he'd have killed Felthius, but maybe we'd wounded him a bit more, and if the Dreadnought had been able to get into the middle there, I think I would have been able to win at that point. But the Dreadnought getting bogged down with Poxwalkers, that was it, basically.
Yeah, well, that's why I decided to leave them in melee as well, because I thought with only 4 attacks and 4 Poxwalkers left, you could easily kill them, but I took the chance that you wouldn't, and you didn't. So if he'd been free to act in your turn... But obviously I still had a Blight Hauler left.
Probably would have zapped it anyway. Yeah. I think it is a pretty tough mission for the Space Marines. Part of that is going to be because your reinforcements are going to get left behind, whereas the Death Guard reinforcements are by the objective.
So even if you had brought on in your Chaplain or Apothecary, they would have been a long way from the fighting. Yeah, I mean, actually, let's talk about actually the main objective of the game is obviously killing that gate. So you have to get units with range damage in range of that. It's going to be the Hellblasters are really the only people who can.
And they're still only going to be wounded on 4s if they're overcharged.
Yeah, they have to get roughly to the middle of the board to get within rapid fire range of it.
The Hellblasters are also good at killing your unit, who are good at killing my units.
That's exactly your dilemma, isn't it? Is that one tactic for you is to try and hold up my units as much as possible in melee while the Hellblasters shoot the gate. So other tactics get 3 victory points for having somebody within an inch of it.
Getting the Dreadnought into contact with it.
Yeah.
It's a lot difficult choice as to when you bring in each reinforcement for the Space Marines and the Death Guard. You've got the Foul Blight Spawn who can just zoom out of the gate. And if you bring on the Dreadnought early, it can get shot at by the Blight Hauler. You probably want to bring on the Librarian fairly early as well, so you've got some protection against psychic powers. And the Apothecary, if you leave him too late, there might not be anyone left for him to actually revive.
I have the same sort of dilemma. I mean, between the Blight Hauler and the Plague Caster, because they're the... But then it's either psychic powers or the long-range firepower. I went for the Blight Hauler actually first because I could bring him on and keep the Terminators in cover. And then the other big thing, of course, is I got to go first.
Yeah.
Being able to bring my Terminators up the board and get those Poxwalkers really far forward. My tactic really was to keep you at arm's length from the gate, basically.
You can just form a roadblock in the middle of the board.
Yeah, and because you don't get any points for killing my unit, except Lord Felthius, they can die.
And you can, you can afford to stay back in cover as well, and you got a full round of shooting at me before I could do anything.
Yeah.
With a full squad of Plague Marines and the Blight Hauler.
And that's just one of the things that, as we've discussed before, the Space Marines just do struggle with against the Death Guard is that toughness 5. In a mission like this, I can just park my entire army in the middle of the board and you have to hack your way through it.
And there's so much stuff that's strength 4 as well, and considering that the gate itself is toughness 8. And the Librarian and Countess didn't pull their weight in melee. I don't think either of them really actually caused any wounds at all.
So the Poxwalkers for once did not get flamed. In fact, they did something again. They've had quite a few games where they've done absolutely nothing because they've got blown away, but they did hold the Dreadnought up. I knew you'd have to get rid of them because they won't run away, so they'd just get in the way. I guess you just hoped you'd kill more of them with shooting.
Yes, I wanted to shoot a hole into them so I could charge the Blightbringer.
Yeah, and then...
Warlord Traits.
They did come into play. They saved Felthius a couple of wounds, and meant your captain hit with all of his attacks, even though he was using his -1 to hit weapon.
Yeah, so we might as well just discuss all the Warlord Traits. So the first one is Angel of Death. I mean, it's okay. I mean, you probably want to build your entire army around it, so have a load of Reavers.
Yeah, anything like that you want to stack it.
Yeah. The Imperium Sword is just a slightly better version of the generic one. Then there's Iron Resolve, which is again just a slightly better version of the generic one. Then there's Storm of Fire, that's probably one of the standout ones.
We've spoken before about Space Marine blob tactic, which is, stick a lot of shooter units in a confined space with a captain and a lieutenant nearby to let them reroll all those ones. That works really well with that. You have a lot of units within range of that and you're shooting.
Then the fifth Warlord trait is Rights of War, probably one of the worst ones. All of my units have +1 leadership because of the Codex Discipline. That was the first time I ever had to make a morale test. I don't think it's too handy.
No.
And the final one, the one I chose, was Champion of Humanity. Yeah. So I think in a bigger game that'd probably be less helpful, but in this scenario where we have so many characters on each side, that's why I picked it. And it also helpfully counteracts his -1 to hit from the Boltstorm Gauntlet.
Yeah, and to be honest, had he not had the misfortune to be fighting Felthius straight away, he probably would have cut through.
He would have mowed down any of the other characters.
There's 4 wounds each, bet no vulnerable save. Yeah, you would have just sliced through them. And then we've got the Death Guard ones as well. So the one I picked is number 1. Yes.
Revolting Resilient, yeah.
It just makes the Death Guard Warlord even more ridiculously difficult to get rid of. And Lord Felthius is not exactly a squishy unit to start with.
Yeah, and I think out of the 6 choices, 4 of them basically just make your Warlord more durable in various ways.
Well, the other one I thought about taking was the one that lets him regain a wound at the start of every player's turn, it says. So that's like start of the Space Marine and Death Guard turns. He regains a wound. We might
as well discuss those 4 first. So we've had Revolting Resilient, which is +1 to discussingly resilient rolls, except against mortal wounds. And then there's Tainted Regeneration, which just takes him longer to die. And then there's Hulking Physique, which gives your Warlord +1 toughness. That's probably the worst option here, because you're already toughness 5.
there are very few things in your army that will change the wound roll for, like the Dreadnought's guns, because they're strength 5.
I mean, it would change a few things, but revoltingly resilient is useful in every case, as well as regeneration. And then the last one that increases your durability is Rotten Constitution.
Yeah, and I didn't take that for this because you don't have that many weapons that do multiple damage.
It's not as good as Revoltingly Resilient or Tainted Regeneration.
Yeah.
Because I think it's really... Well, I mean, if he's going to get shot at by something, it's either going to be lots of small things, which he won't have any benefit against, or one big thing, in which case it's not going to have that much of benefit either.
And then what's the remaining?
And then the other two, so we've got Living Plague.
And I did seriously think about taking that one because I knew I was going to park him in the middle of the board, and so I knew you were going to have to get somebody into melee with him, or he would get into melee. It's just yet more mortal wounds, you know. With Space Marines, every wound hurts. So
because I can't really do anything about it. I guess if you had something like the Plague Surgeon as your Warlord, and you weren't worried about him dying, you could take that in because he wants to be in melee as well against Space Marines. And the last Warlord trait for the Death Guard is Arch Contaminator, in which case you can re-roll all failed wound rolls when resolving attacks made with a plague weapon. That's really actually going to be like the plague knives and the sword and the axe for the Terminator.
I would consider that one, I guess, if I wanted to make the Terminators more effective in melee and I didn't have Lord Velthius. If my Warlord were one of the more supporty characters...
Yeah, it's a pretty good support.
I could keep them near the Terminators, and it makes the Terminators more effective in melee, because the problem with the Terminators is like, well, the Plague Sword is good AP, but only wounds on 4s, so re-rolling ones.
It'd be good if you had
re-rolling everything.
If you had something like the Foul Blight Spawn, or maybe the Psycho, someone you wouldn't want in melee.
And actually, in future games where I don't have Lord Velthius, in fact, he doesn't turn up much for the next few issues, it will be interesting to see which characters I've got.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the Space Marine ones apply fairly equally to regardless of which Warlord you actually have. Absolutely. I mean, you'd probably take Storm of Fire, or whatever it was, with something like if you had an Apothecary as a Warlord, or the Shooty Captain. Yeah. If you have a melee character, I mean, it doesn't really matter too much which one you pick. They're all equally good choices. Whereas with the Death Guard, it actually probably is the one making your Warlord tough is generally quite good anyway. And, that is also going to be our last battle using solely this board.
Because we'll start using a new board next issue, and I think we've got a couple of games on that one, but actually we're going to end up with 2 boards joined together.
I think it's really actually only one before, and then we'll join the both boards together. So you'll still see all this terrain and stuff, and the board.
Yeah. I think with the number of models we've got now, it does feel a bit crowded on this board. You know, by the time end of the cargo missions, we were starting to feel like there wasn't enough room. Oh yeah, in the previous issue when you were charging from behind a wall, so the Flight of Hell Blightspawn couldn't see them and then charged from behind the wall.
Yeah.
That was an artifact of games on a small board of this size.
Yeah.
Like in a big battle on a full 6x4 table, you just won't see that kind of thing because there's less terrain or units are much bigger. Yeah, exactly. So it's just not. And we're going to end up doubling the size of our play area again, and we probably see much less of that for that reason.
I do think some of the battles on this board that we've played have sort of blended together quite often. For the last, 7 issues, I think all of my armies have had the Intercessors, the Aggressors and the Hellblasters, and then just variants of which characters I get.
Yeah. Well, we obviously did an overview of the whole collection so far in the introduction, so if you didn't see that and you want to have a look, then do go and have a peek.
Go and have a look in the description for a time code. Well, I suppose in our narrative of the whole thing, it's saying in the magazine we could have done a best of 7 to decide who wins the battle for the palace. We only did it once. It will fit narratively with what's coming in the magazine, actually. We're going to say the Silver Templars have retaken the city, but the Death Guard have managed to hold the palace. And then, because we're moving to a new battle mat, the Silver Templars are going to be reassigned to defend Kalon instead. It's the next battle mat. And that will explain why some of the units will be part of the Silver Templars. Because they don't technically fit in the Silver Templars with their lore, but it will fit it with our narrative.
Anyway, I think we've rambled on for long enough about this and about various other things connected with it. We've done a slightly longer outro for this one just because moving on to a next battle mat, which you'll get to see in the very next episode. But if you enjoyed this one, please give it a like, consider subscribing so you keep up to date with all of the content. Leave any comments you had about this battle, about balance, about our tactics, about whatever. We'd love to hear from you. But until next time, we've been the Tabletop Donkeys, and we'll see you then.
Bye for now.